It's Friday evening in St. Paul. Phones stopped working. City networks went dark. Residents could not access basic services. It felt like the city had been hit by a disaster. But the skies were clear. There was no storm. Hola, cat. There was no storm, no protest, no power outage. What really happened was ransomware. Hackers broke in, locked systems, and stole 43 gigabytes of sensitive data. And behind those numbers are people like Theo, a single dad trying to renew his housing assistant. He logged in and found that the portal was offline. Days later, he discovered his personal records, address, ID, even his financial details were dumped online for anyone to see. This is what cyber attacks look like in real life. Today, I will take you inside what happened, why the response failed, and the lessons that every security manager and every CISM candidate should take away. This is your CISM Minute with Flora, and remember, let's keep security simple. They scan for weak points, break in quietly, and once inside, they move fast, steal data, encrypt the most critical systems, and then demand a ransom. In this case, they did not just want money, they wanted leverage. By stealing 43 gigabytes of city data, they made sure that even if some Poles rebuilt its systems, the attackers could still hurt them. When the city refused to pay, Interlog followed through on their threat. They dumped the stolen data online. For criminals like this, it's all about showing they can't be ignored. It all began with unusual network traffic. The city's Network Operations Center spotted the alerts. They knew that something was not right. Spikes in activities, connections from strange IPs, indicators that somebody was probing deeper than usual. But instead of raising the alarm immediately, they hesitated. And this is where human nature kicks in. Nobody wants to wake up leadership on a Friday night. It might just be a false positive. That delay was costly. By the time that the leadership was finally brought in, attackers had already moved laterally across city systems. What started as a single alert became a full compromise, spreading from server to server. This is why escalation speed matters just as much as the technology itself. At that point, the only option left was drastic. The city pulled the plug. Entire networks were taken offline in an effort to contain the spread. It was not just IT systems, it was services that people depend on phones, billing, records, permit. For citizens, it felt like the city had gone dark overnight. Public workers suddenly could not access their systems. Residents could not get the basic services. And confusion spread quickly. The mayor declared a state of emergency. And while that was the right call, it also highlighted a painful truth. Once the ransomware gets this far, your organization is already in crisis mode. Containment is necessary, but it comes at a huge cost. In parallel to encrypting systems, the attackers had been quietly siphoning data. In total, 43 gigabytes of sensitive city information were exfiltrated. Employee records, citizen data, internal files. For a city government, that means everything from payroll details to personal addresses and IDs. When St. Paul refused to pay the ransom, the attackers kept their promise. They released the stolen files on the dark web. And this is the harsh reality of modern ransomware. Even if you recover your systems, the damage does not end there. The criminals don't just lock you out. They publish your data, exposing citizens and staff to identity theft, fraud, and public embarrassment. It's not just about encrypted servers, it's about trust, and in this case, trust was broken. Here's where things fell apart in St. Paul. Let's break it down. First, escalation was too slow. The NSC saw unusual traffic. The red flags were there, but instead of raising the alarm immediately, they hesitated. Nobody wanted to bother leadership late on a Friday. That delay gave attackers more time to move and lock systems. In security, minutes matter. Second, the continuity plan hadn't been tested. On paper, there was a plan, but in practice, nobody had rehearsed it. When the attack hit, people were not sure which system to shut down or which service to prioritize. A continuity plan that's never tested is just a Word document. Now, third, roles and responsibilities were not clear. Who declares an emergency? Who talks to the press? Who has the authority to approve drastic measures? Those answers were not defined. So leadership lost hours just figuring out who should do what. Next, the culture underestimated the risk. Culturally, the city thought, we are not a big bank, we are not a big target. That attitude left gaps. Security awareness was not strong. Escalation was seen as overreacting, and staff underestimated how serious a ransomware attack could be. And these failures are not unique to St. Paul. They happen in organizations everywhere, which is why the lessons from this case are so important. From this case, there are four lessons that every security manager should remember. First, incidents always happen. Prevention is never enough. You can have strong firewalls and patch management, but something will slip through. The key is being ready for that day. Second, escalate early. In St. Paul, hesitation gave attackers more time. It's better to wake somebody up and be wrong than to stay silent and lose an entire city. Third, training beats paperwork. The city had a continuity plan, but no one had practiced it. A document does not save you under pressure. Practice does. And fourth, decisions matter. Who declares an emergency? Who talks to the press? And who has authority to negotiate? If those roles are not clear before the crisis, you will lose precious hours when they matter most. These lessons apply not only in real life but also in the CISM exam. The right answer is usually the one that activates the process, escalates quickly, and relies on preparation, not improvisation. If you want to go deeper into incident management and really prepare for questions and situations like this, grab my free cheat sheet and study pack. The link is in the description. It's exactly what I used to pass the exam while working full time. All right, so how does all of this tie back to the CISM exam? This maps directly to domain 4 on incident management, response, escalation, recovery, and also to domain 3, program management, continuity, and resilience. In the exam, the right answer is almost always follow the defined procedure and don't improvise. When you see a ransomware scenario on the CISM exam, remember this. The correct answer is rarely about jumping straight into technical fixes. It's not about patching servers, rebuilding systems, or paying the ransom. Isaka wants to see process first. That means activating the incident response plan, escalating it to the right roles, and following the defined steps your organization has agreed on. Only after the process is triggered do the technical actions make sense. So, if you are stuck between a flashy technical option and a calm procedural option, choose the process. That is the mindset that the exam is testing, and it's also the mindset that works in real life. Incidents are inevitable. What defines your success, both in the CISM exam and in real life, is how you respond. Sampo learned it the hard way. You don't have to. Now subscribe for more real life security stories and download the incident management cheat sheet below. This was your CISM Minute with Laura, and remember, let's keep security simple.